Welcome, everybody, to Keeping It Real with Jen. I'm so glad that you could be here with us tonight. And today I have a very special guest. It's my sweet daughter-in-law. That's what I call her. This is my son David's wife, Shannon.
Hi everyone.
Thank you so much for being on. And I know that a lot of our friends have literally asked, when is Shannon's turn?
Oh,
So I'm really glad that you're on.
yay. I just want to say hi to all of our sisters in Guam.
Yes.
I'm just thinking of Sister Mona and Tasha and even Hanisha, if you watch this. I miss you all. And yeah, well.
Yeah, whoever's watching, we just welcome you to watch and hear what Shannon has to say.
Oh,
no,
boy.
I'm just kidding. No, but one thing I've been asking all my family members who have been on our family is how has their transition been from Guam to Texas? And I know that it is a very far transition. And so I just wanted to ask Shannon, how has your transition been since you've moved here? Because you grew up on the island of Guam, and then you left for a while, went back, got married, and then you can pick up from there.
Yeah. So I thought it was going to be a pretty easy transition, only because my mom was in the military. So I grew up kind of moving around a lot, but it's totally different when you have a family. It's totally different when you have children. And in my case, I was pregnant and I was, I think 4 or 5 months pregnant moving here. So I'd already had a belly. It was really...
I think you were farther along than that.
You think
Actually,
so?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like 7.
You were like 7 months.
You're right.
Already.
Yeah.
You were pretty big. And
Yeah.
we wanted to do it before you,
Right.
you could, before you couldn't
travel.
move.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I could travel and not, make it. I wanted to make it here. So we did leave kind of suddenly. And I think for me, I think it's better now. We've been here almost a year. It's been 10 months. And so I think that now I think I'm finally starting to settle in. A lot of different things have happened. I had a home birth, and we'll talk about that.
Yes.
And I had moved in. We moved, and we just the whole looking for a place, and that was kind of stressful. But thankfully, we got to stay with Auntie, and she really welcomed us, and so the church really welcomed us, and so I'm actually really just thankful that we're here now, because it was tough. It was tough, and I didn't even realize how tough it would be. So
what are some things in Guam that you were going through to help make that decision? What was going on in your life?
So, we're going to do that right now. We're going to cry right now.
We're not going to cry. So we're not going to cry in this episode. This is an episode that's not going to be crying.
Well, a lot of things were happening. We were in the middle of COVID, and in the beginning of COVID, we were just like, okay, we just need to make sure our immune system is strong. And then all of a sudden, Mom and Dad, who are healthy, they were healthy, and we didn't think, that it would affect them as bad as it did, but it did, and it sent Mom to the hospital, and then they refused her, and Dad, just both of them, just hearing stories about how they're holding on to each other for dear life, and just praying that they will be able to breathe, because they would have coughing spells, and to the point where they just couldn't breathe anymore at some point. But thankfully, the Lord spared them. And so we're here because David heard the call to urgently come here to Texas, and the Lord flung open doors, so many doors.
It seemed like all at once. And I think a lot of during COVID, because the first, 2 years were horrendous, because we were everybody, I think around the world was like, what is going on? What is this? And so we did the precautions. We did what we had to do. But one thing about you and David was during COVID at Calvary, where your husband was an assistant pastor, is when we lost our whole leadership. They literally didn't want to come back to church.
And David and I weren't even in leadership at that time.
And we understand, people who may be elderly, we understood, but it was like the church had to keep running, And so you and David really stepped up in a humongous way. Just for those 2 years, gung-ho, just really in there and serving and feeding the people, supporting the people,
Right.
feeding the community, ministering to others. I mean, you guys were just essential, you know? And so I think coming from that, and then like you said, we all geared up to, you know, really build our immune system. We
Right.
started doing our research, and then, you know, we got sick. I mean, we got real sick. And so I just remember Dad and I, you know, we didn't want to get anybody sick. And I definitely didn't want to get Shannon sick because she was pregnant, and David. But, I mean, I was shocked that you two didn't care and
Yeah, we
just
didn't.
put on your gloves and your mask and came in the room and was really there for us. And so thank you for that.
Aw.
Especially you, Shannon, because you know, I don't know how many times I could have overdosed. I was taking pills left and right, and I couldn't remember if I took them. And then
Right. You had brain fog because of COVID.
yes, that's brain fog is real. And then Dad, I was like, I think I gave him that medicine. I don't know. I mean, we were just lost without you and David. And so you guys were really vital. And I remember, you know, as we got better, I remember the reports that were coming in from the hospital, especially with women who are pregnant, and the hospital saying, we will not give emergency C-sections to those who are not vaccinated. And so our whole family wasn't vaccinated. And we just, and you know, you hear that, but you're like, the Lord will provide. And then I remember when I went to the hospital and they wouldn't even let me in the hospital, and I was gasping for air, and they didn't even come near me. They didn't even give me oxygen. They didn't want to do anything.
More than 6 feet apart, the doctor was.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to be near you.
And people who were vaccinated, they were letting in the hospital.
Right.
They were letting them go right on through. And I was outside in like 98-degree weather.
Being discriminated by a doctor who felt like only vaccinated people should be allowed to come in, which is so sad.
It's very sad. And so I do know that, but for your husband, he was like, I do not want my wife and children to go through that.
Right. That's
so
true. That was like kind of the urgency behind the Lord calling David, and David realizing and just being wise as a husband and a father to take care of his family. And so,
yeah.
And
I commend him for that, because, you know, I know that we were all gung-ho to stay in there,
right?
You know, and do what we had to do. But at that time, we were literally in survival mode.
Yeah.
Dad and I, and having the church, you know, on our shoulders, we needed to rest, you know, and the Lord took us away and took you guys away. And so, like you said, it happened so fast. Right. So what did you think when you first came to Texas? Because I know none of us were very happy. We were like, what are we doing here?
Well, it was cold.
Was hard? It was
cold. It was cold. So that was,
I forgot about that.
It wasn't super cold, but
we had our slippers on.
Right. And the kids, that was really exciting for the kids. I think probably the tough part is finding your people. I think that's probably the tough part. But the kids just, I feel like their transition went really well.
They love the church.
Yeah. They found friends. They love all the activities. They love the worship. And they love the teachers. They really do love the teachers. So I guess for them it was really good. But for David and I think we were just trying to find our place and trying to find, you know, who we want to do life with. And which I think, I mean, we tell the military it takes about a year to really settle in and fully transition to where you're going to be.
And give it a year.
Right.
Let the depression subside.
Right. Exactly. Definitely depression.
What was great was that we had each other, though.
Yes.
Because a lot of military families, when they go to Guam, they don't have family.
Right.
Their husbands are off on the ship, and the church is their family.
It's
and
true.
so we really try to embrace them. But it takes them a while to get over that initial, I'm lonely.
Right.
You know, and we experienced that coming here, I think. But we did have each other, like I said.
Yes. And so we got to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas together, which is awesome. And then New Year's Eve. And so.
Yeah. I mean, that's nothing new for us.
Right.
But to be around even the other family. So what else? What else did you find different?
So never mind.
No, go ahead.
I don't.
We're going to keep it real.
I'm not, I think I'm oblivious, or maybe, I don't know. there's some racism, I guess, if we could talk about that, that I'm not even aware of. But David is the one who has to tell me, like, he's actually not treating you nicely because, or paying attention to you, you know, at the stores or different places. Until he steps in. I think one time it was at Costco. We were ordering pizza, and I went up to ask one of the guys a question, and whether or not our order was ready, and he kind of blew me off. But when David came and stood next to me, that's when he paid attention and like gave customer service basically. But besides that, I don't know what else was tough. I kind of.
How about your transition into your new home? Anything there, or?
So I feel like the spiritual warfare here is different. You know, when you go to certain villages in Guam, you can already. I think every time we would go down to Umatic, on Agate Umatic Road, we could just feel a heaviness. Yeah. And there were times when David and I would just start arguing, bickering for no reason. And we realized that the spiritual heaviness is definitely there. So,
but coming here,
our house, it's just different. So it's not like there isn't a peace, but because we have neighbors and because they've been changing, I can definitely tell, like, sometimes the kids hear voices. So just spiritual attacks in that way, that's different. It's the first time that the kids are kind of being. Do you want to stop?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
There's a lot of background noise. Sorry, people are talking.
Yeah, we're doing it at the house, so at Mom's house, so it's okay. So just spiritual warfare that's affecting the kids, that's different. So I think before there wouldn't. Sometimes there would be, but I feel like it's more heavy in that way, attacking the children here. So I think that's kind of a big difference in like moving into the house. But the Lord provided everything that we needed, which is really awesome.
Yes. Within like the first couple of weeks you were here.
Right. So we sold everything in Guam and we moved here with nothing, basically just 10 suitcases, 2 suitcases per person. So, and then we just prayed and kind of, I don't really know how it happened, but everything just kind of fell into our laps. Yeah. The Lord just provided everything.
Beds and some couches and some dishes and some.
Right. Table. Yeah. Pots and pans just all of a sudden showed up at David's work one day for they didn't even know who it was supposed to go to, but then it came to us. So
somebody said, I know somebody who needs those.
Yes.
Oh, God is so good.
Yeah.
And when you're in God's will and you know it's God's will,
right,
there's no like forcing it.
Right.
It just, doors start flinging open.
Yes.
You know, and so that's just how the Lord works. And we just step out in faith.
Right.
You know?
And I did pray to move to back to the States a few years ago. Well, Olivia's 5. So maybe like 5 years ago, I prayed to come back to the States. And then the Lord said no. He didn't open any doors. But when David heard the call from the Lord, all of these doors flung open. And then when we got here, there was just so much peace, like knowing that we were in the Lord's will.
Yeah, and he had a job.
Right.
And then you guys had a van provided.
Right.
I mean, just boom, boom, boom. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Lord.
So how about friendships here? Have you been able to make any close friendships? I know we have our ladies in Guam, but...
Yeah, I think it just takes time. I know that there are some people that are like, I can tell when people are genuine. Like, do I say names? I don't know.
No, you don't have to say names.
Okay.
We don't know if they're going to watch this.
Right.
You know, you're not so genuine, girl. I just want to let you know.
No, I wanted to name the genuine people. Okay. I love.
Oh, yeah, you can name who you just were so inviting and loving. And
right. Amy Melcher is probably like the first one to really just come up to me, talk to me, want to get to know me, and welcome me. And
I love her.
I love her too. She's just so sweet. So she's a pastor's
and she's genuine.
Wife. Yes, she's genuine.
She's genuine.
You can tell she's genuine.
I'm dealing with this, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. At first, I was like, wow, she's very, super outgoing, outspoken, and very friendly. I felt like I was like a little bit too shy. I'm normally not like that, but I don't know, moving and being in a new environment, I kind of shied back, but she's been consistent, the same the whole entire time, which I love. And some other people who invited us to their home fellowship 4th of July party, and so we started to get to know other people and go on play dates and stuff. So I haven't really settled into anything yet, but I'm appreciative of the people that the Lord's provided so far.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
What about in ministry? What do you find in ministry? Are you leaning towards something, or?
I did get an application to help in children's. Oh. So,
well, you fit right in there. We got lots of children's in there.
That's right. And I feel like I need to watch some of my children. Yeah.
Oh, girl, that doesn't go away. Next thing you know, you're going to be in junior high, high school, Club 56. It just keeps going up and up. No,
I can't believe Arabella's 9. She's going to be 10 soon, double digits. I can't believe it.
I know. She's growing so fast.
Yeah. But
so I also wanted to talk about your home birth.
I would love to talk about my home birth.
So first of all, in Guam, because of everything that was going on, we were literally planning on you having a home birth anyways. Right. Because we did not want to be giving birth at the hospital because they would take away the babies from you. And there was something in the newspaper in Guam where they took the baby into a snack room and left it on the my goodness. Oh yeah, I thought you heard that.
No.
They left it on the the lunchroom table, and people were just looking at the baby.
What
Anybody
in the world?
I know, just crazy. We just hear crazy stuff, and like when you give birth, your spouse at one point the spouse couldn't even go in there
because he wasn't vaccinated.
No, they weren't letting anybody support at all. And anyways, we were talking about that,
right?
And
so a home birth was I had to ask Mom actually. Beg her, please deliver my baby.
Well, some people don't know I am a midwife. I wasn't certified in Guam, and their protocols are totally different. So I was nervous. I was just like,
and it had been years.
Yes. Yeah. And so for COVID, I had so many phone calls. I don't want to deliver it, at the hospital. Right. So we just said, okay, I said, okay. Yes. Hesitantly. Then I got COVID and she changed her mind. It's just I'm going to the States. No.
Yeah. Even coming to the States, I still wanted to have a home birth. So so we tried to be as prepared as possible.
Well, you were educating yourself a long time ago.
Right.
And
because of Alex. Thank you, Alex.
Yes, Alex.
You're my inspiration.
But also you were I've been at her births and I'm just like, this woman can give birth, with one foot on the bed and just be like, which is kind of what happened. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
But you just give birth beautifully. Oh, and you have the confidence and you understand your body, and a lot of women don't. They go into giving birth in fear.
Yeah.
And so they listen to whatever their doctor tells them and does all the interventions that you can think of, busting your water, getting IVs, all these things that are necessary. You know?
Which, if you don't know anything else, then, Yeah. But thankfully I have Mom and I have Alex, and I'm just so thankful that home birth, it just felt like that was what it was supposed to be. And so the Lord laid that on my heart, and I prayed and I prayed and I asked the Lord for certain things, and He granted those things. And so I labor for a couple days, and then
wait, say that again, because some women
you labor. It's normal to labor for a couple of days. It's normal to feel contractions and for them to be consistent. And then it'll die down a little bit, and it's like your body is preparing, but it's not like you have to do it right then and there, because back in the day, or when my first birth, as soon as I felt contractions, I went to the birthing center, and they intervened. They, what's it called, Mom? Strip your membranes. They stripped my membranes. They popped my water bag. And I realized that it was kind of being hurried along. So, with this birth, my 4th baby, Jasper Jin. Yes. A masculine, his middle name is Jin. It's a masculine spinoff of Mom's name. We realized that no one's named after Mom yet. So we wanted to definitely give her honor.
Yes, he was the first one.
So, so Mom said that if your contractions keep you awake, then that's probably when it's going to be happening. So I read a book called, now I can't remember it. Anyway, it's a home birthing book, and there were so many different stories of home births, and basically, it's like your body knows what to do, and all I needed was a quiet, dark area. And so, and I like to birth alone, I realize, or labor alone. And I ended up, anyway. So my contractions woke me up. I didn't want to wake anyone up yet because I thought it would be a while. And so I went into the shower and I just labored quietly, peacefully. I actually prayed. This is the first time I ever did that. I prayed and I asked the Lord, I invited him in. I said, Jesus, I want to invite you into this process. I know that you are the one who gives me strength, and you're the one who created this baby in my womb. You created me. So I just invited him in, and I labored quietly, peacefully. And it was so amazing. And I could just feel the baby moving down. And so,
and did you know every transition, or
I think I skipped transitions actually. Yeah. I went straight into,
you went fast.
Yeah. So I got out of the shower because I heard Olivia crying, and I went to go check on her, and I let David know.
You came out of the shower while you're in labor.
Yes, while I'm laboring. Yes. But it was not like in the movies where
painful.
Right.
You're like,
where I'm like screaming. I just quietly went into the room and I said, Livy, it's okay. I'm here. Daddy's here. And then David was like, is everything okay? I said, can you just text Mom and let her know that I think the baby's going to come soon. So he texts you. And then I just feel one super strong contraction, and I could feel the baby descend, and it made me, I was bouncing on the ball. It made me get up, and I felt like I was running away. Like I had to run away somewhere else and go somewhere by myself. But then I said, okay, you need to call Mom now. And so David called you, and he was like, I don't know what to do. And I said, I think the baby's coming right now. And I was on the floor. We were prepared. We had a blanket and a shower curtain on the floor to catch everything. And so I just got on my hands and knees, and I felt the baby, and I just lifted up my leg and I checked, and I could feel the bag. And I could feel his head under the bag. So the bag hadn't popped yet. And I said, the baby's here already. Please tell Mom to come now. Yeah. And so...
and David, all I hear is David going, Mom, you got to come. What is that? What is that, Shannon? What is that? And I'm like, David, okay. David, what is she doing? And he said that in her pajamas, he saw this.
Oh my goodness.
Like something sticking out. And he was like, what? Shannon, what is it? And I said, David, get ready to get over there and catch the baby. And then
the baby, and then Jasper just came out. Yeah. The bag popped, and I just felt one more. I didn't even push. It's called the fetal ejection reflex. And so the baby just came out all by himself. I didn't have to push or anything. So it was just beautiful.
I just hear a baby crying. I'm like, I'm still on my way.
And then David said that Dad talked to him later and said you were still like stuck in your shirt trying to talk to me. I'm coming.
Yeah. I was putting my shirt on while I'm listening. David going, what is that? He got real quiet. He was like, and he said he was just on the phone like this. I'm like, get over there and catch the baby. It was too late. You were down.
Yeah, I just pulled the baby up.
Yeah, she just totally caught the baby by herself.
And yeah,
see it was, these indigenous women. Like, rah.
No, it was beautiful.
The circle of life.
So, and then you came like 10 minutes later, and
probably 2.
Yeah.
I live right down the street, and I was flying.
And so Jasper was perfect. It was 10 out of 10 on his APGAR scores. And so he was pink. He was breathing
perfect
well.
by the time I got there.
Yeah.
And you had the umbilical cord still, and we had to deliver the placenta. And, I mean, you did so well.
It was fun. Yeah. If I could just do that and not
David was still in shock. He was still walking around like, what just happened? I didn't know. Shannon, how could you keep it from me? Just like,
And
did
that
you
was-
even want me at your birth? Like we were all so happy looking at the baby, and he's still, did you even want me there? He was just asking, like, what happened?
I remember how I would say, there are women that go into the field with a blanket and they
Yes.
just deliver the baby all by themselves. I said, I think that I'm that kind of
She
woman.
asked David if she could do that. She literally said, can I go in the field and have a baby and come back?
I'll come back with the baby. Don't worry.
Now we know that she can.
Yes, but probably not anymore. I think I'm done.
They think they're
body's
done.
My body's tired.
Oh, tell me about it.
So it
That's-
was beautiful.
It was. I mean, very beautiful. Now he's just so adorable. I call him, well, I'm not supposed to say I call him, but Haven actually found the nickname Mochi. But I call him my pappy because he's like an old man.
He is an
pappy.
old man.
I
Yes,
love
he has
him.
an old man face.
And he's very chill. He's just so chill. He's a good boy.
He is.
And so you're breastfeeding still?
I am.
And
Yeah.
How's that?
It's going good. I'm real. Oh, I wanted to talk about this actually. I talked to Auntie Christina, and because I went up to the to sign up for the Joyful Moms, and I was trying to write my name, and my hand was shaking, and I said, Auntie, why am I shaking? So I told her about all of my symptoms, how
Yes.
I have tremors.
Tremors.
I have insomnia. I can't sleep. And she actually checked my goiter, and she said that she
it
feels
swollen?
like it's swollen. And so even when my mom came, my mom said that I should go get my thyroid panel. And so I'm
Yes.
going to go and do that.
That's good because
Yeah.
Auntie actually knows all about the thyroid.
Yeah.
And she has Graves' disease. So,
Right. That's what my mom has too.
and do you have palpitations in your
Yeah.
head?
So
I didn't know that, Shannon.
it kind of just happened recently. So I went to sleep, and it woke me up. And
the tremor?
no, the palpitations. So
Oh.
it to the point where it woke me up. I thought that it was because I was going to sleep and my mind is like anxious or something, and so my heart would race. But when it woke me up from my sleep, I was like, oh, okay, this is different. This is probably
Yes,
serious.
You need to get that checked.
So
So we are going to get that checked.
yes, we're gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom said, do it.
Yes,
So,
and we have to listen to our mothers, everybody. Speaking of mom, I heard that, I know that they came from all the way from Guam to visit you.
Yes.
So how was that?
yeah, I'm so thankful that they came. So
Well, okay,
I-
wait, let's back up.
Okay.
Okay, so there's some things that happened while we were here
right,
and decisions
Right.
that we had to make,
right.
which are pretty
Yes.
amazing that it just so happened to open up.
We
You
were
wanna
not
talk
looking
about
for it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so this just kind of plopped in our laps. We were not thinking about moving back to Guam at all, but David got a job offer. And so,
And so did Dad.
and Dad got a job offer, and me and David, both of our hearts are, we want to serve with Mom and Dad. We want to be there for them, especially because we want to be there if they get sick or whatever. We want to be able to take care of them. So we got a job offer, and
A very, very
It was-
good job
yes,
offer.
yes, with so many benefits, and they would fly us back. They would pay for a container to ship all of our things. They would they would just really take care of us, and we
And
prayed.
they realize how vital you are in the home and wanted you to be able in the home.
Yes.
And wanted David to only have to work one job.
Exactly.
And they really wanted to take care of you guys, which is, I
Yeah.
mean, nothing like that, you know.
Right. And for them to have just the same vision as a family, for the wife to take care of the children and
Not
that's-
have to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Make that her first
And
priority.
they literally said, we don't want David to have to work two jobs.
Right.
Which I
Yes.
just thought was precious. And it would,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and it was at a church.
Yes.
And it just, what a blessing. And on top of that, anyways, go ahead. It's your story.
Well, no, feel free to chime in anytime.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if we were supposed to move back, but at the very, so many things happened. So, so David got the offer, and we prayed, and we let them know like what that would look like financially, for our family. And so, the pastor went back to his board and he talked to them, and he said, this is what it would look like for them. Is there anything that we can do? So they even changed David's job description so that he could just help out even more, and that compensated, and that he was going to be compensated for. So, and that was really awesome that they were willing to do that.
Yeah.
So David and I fasted, prayed, and we were going to get another offer. So sorry, let me back up. They made the other offer, and before they did that, I had a peace that we would go back home. So I thought we were going back. But then David and I prayed and fasted, and they were going to do even more. They were going to go and figure out if they could help us even more, which is crazy. Like, we weren't even asking for that. They were just going to try to figure it out. But then David and I went to sleep. David asked the Lord to give him a verse. And I stayed up late, like reading, just asking the Lord to speak to me. And all I heard was
a huge move.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was going to go wherever David went. Wherever the Lord called David, I was going to go. So I thought we were going to go. And then the Lord said, wait on him. And that was the verse that he gave me. And I said, okay, so maybe we just need to wait a little bit longer. Maybe they're going to do something else. But then David woke up and he said, no. The Lord said no. The Lord said for us to stay. So I think that might be the thing that kind of triggered what I could have right now, which is hyperthyroidism. And
because of stress of that, wondering, and
right, because it was like a couple weeks, maybe. I think from the time that we got the offer, it was probably a month happening, but a couple weeks of like going back and forth and really praying and asking the Lord. So yeah, we
and
turned it down.
Yeah, and the Lord kind of did the same thing to us, and we just thought, wow, Lord, only God could take us out for a year and cause us to rest and then send us back, because it wouldn't be until January that we'd go back. And then also to have my husband and son still work at the same place. I mean, what a blessing, I mean, we just thought, wow, Lord, what in the world? And so we prayed, and the Lord said no. Yeah. And so we don't know if it's no forever. Right. We don't know, we just know that God's not finished with us here yet. And so instead of leaving that church in the hanging, we just said we can't right now, but we would like in the future, if the Lord calls us back, to have this door open. And it may not be this church, it may be something else, but we just knew from the Lord it was a no. Right. And the Lord spoke to both Dad first, then me, and I decided to keep my mouth shut. I just wanted the Lord to speak to Dad. Without my influence of what I thought, because I still had a lot of healing to do just from certain traumatizing experiences that I've had. And I didn't want to hinder my husband and his calling. So when Dad gave his answer, and then I gave the script the Lord gave me, it was like, whoa. And we all were like, wow, Lord. Right. And so we're here just serving the Lord and until he says go. I mean, and when you will know when the Lord was wanting to move you, he opens the door, he swings it open. Well, I mean, if that wasn't a swung open door, I don't know what it was, but that's why it was so confusing, because it was like, wow, is he swinging open the doors again? And
an even better offer, you know, and in so many ways. Yeah. And then, yes. But the Lord, he knows. And so we didn't know, I think he really wanted for us, I think he wanted us to see where our heart was. Yeah. Are we going to base decisions based on fear, or are we really going to trust him? And for me to even say, yes, I'm willing to go back, was huge, because I would have never, ever been there. I would say, I have everything that I want and need right here. But because we love the people of Guam so much, and we love the island so much, and it made it easier. And even Dad and I got to go back for Safe Haven. Right. We got to go back, and what the Lord's doing at Safe Haven is miraculous. Yes. Of course, who doesn't want to be part of that? But I mean, Mona has it all taken care of. She's so good, and she's got so much support, and I'm at peace. And the Lord allowed me to go back just to be part of that. And that's so precious to me. That's like so intimate between me and the Lord. Like, wow, Lord, you let me go back just to be part of that. Opening the Safe Haven home, which I've been praying for so long. Right. Yes. And to like allow me to be there and hook it all up for Mona.
that's just the Lord.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
the timing of it too.
Yes.
And for the people to be there at that time, because they weren't there. They flew in. Somebody flew in.
Yes, people were like off island at a
Right.
certain time. The Lord coordinated the right time, right place, right. I mean, everything, and everything just fell in. And so now we do have a safe haven home opening up. They're renovating right now. It's a home for pregnant teenagers or young women who don't have a place to go and who choose life. So it's just, anyways, that was a form of healing. So to be part of that was so great. But also the Lord allowing just that healing, you know, and then
which is what He wants for you.
Yeah,
which is really awesome.
Well, I think for you too, because you've been through some stuff too. I mean, I remember a lot of you saying, "I don't know what's going on, Mom. I don't know why I feel this way," and I'm just like, I know why, because you've been through a lot too. You almost, I mean, you were right beside us when we thought Dad was going to die.
Yeah.
You know, and then you had a traumatic experience just having to move your family so quickly, losing everything you had, your van that you prayed for so many years. And the Lord, your husband said, we're not going to have another baby unless
That's true.
we get a van. And so Shannon, every prayer with the women, can you pray that I get a van? Can you pray that I get a van? And the Lord blessed them with a van.
And now we have another baby.
And now she got her baby. Anyway, so they had to leave their van behind. They had to leave all their things, their friends. I mean, you went through a humongous change, you know, coming to a land you didn't know, coming out of an atmosphere in Guam where it's totally different than Texas.
Right.
Texas, we're free.
Right.
Texas, we don't even know, we don't wear masks, you know? And even when I went back to visit, I thought, wow, this is so sad. You know what I mean? Like, just
it's like oppression, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's definitely the government has a lot of say and control.
right. And here it's the complete opposite. It's the people who have a say.
Yes. But what I just like the Lord and His healing, you know, I know that you were looking forward to going back and visiting because you thought you were going to go back. But what did the Lord do?
The Lord brought my parents.
He brought her parents here.
So
Awesome.
I didn't know. I don't ever remember what homesickness feels like or felt like growing up. And so I didn't know that I was homesick until my parents came, and there was like a hole in my heart, and my parents came and they filled that. And I love that, that they came. They weren't even supposed to come until next year, but for some reason my dad
Lord knew.
Yes. The Lord knew. And so my dad and my mom came, and it was just awesome. It was so much fun having them meet Jasper, and Jasper loves them. And I love that they really got to spend time with the kids. And so it was awesome.
And the kids missed them so much. They were so happy. I mean, I heard stories and stories about, you know, their papa and
and Nana and and their visit was cut short, and that kind of broke my heart. But of course, you know, they have to be there for family. But there was, I don't know, I just appreciate my parents so much more because they came. And I feel like it's like a new level of wisdom or maturity. Like I'm at an age where I'm worried about my parents, you know, passing away. And I've already been through that, like with you and Dad, and it's just scary. So I definitely soaked up every moment that I had with them.
It's hard to get mad when you miss them so much. But it's hard to get, I know. That's how I feel about me, Mom, Papa, when they come out.
Yeah.
We miss them so much, and then they come, and then it's a sweeter relationship.
It is,
and you feel special because they came to visit you.
Yes,
you know, and
they love me that much.
I know, and I love your parents because they brought shrimp.
Oh my goodness!
And they brought calamansi, and I was like, I love your parents so much. And they
also,
even
I think
shared.
I'm supposed to give you some smoked meat that they put in my freezer that I just found.
No way. She was trying to hide that.
I don't eat. None of us eat it.
I know. I'm joking.
So it's for you guys.
Oh, thank you. I love it. I love that. And I love that they come and they're adventurous.
They are. They're a handful, honestly.
But that's what young love will do.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Yeah, it's actually really cool because my parents got a divorce when I was 16, and then the Lord brought them back together. My dad started going to, my parents are Catholic, but my dad started going to a Bible study. So obviously the Lord is going to transform you, even if you're reading
your Bible.
Yeah, when you're reading the Word. So the Lord changed my dad, and somehow my mom started coming around for, I don't know, for my brother probably. And so, so they just started falling in love again. And now they're together.
It was so weird because I met them when they were divorced.
Yes.
I didn't know. And then when you said my parents they're like something weird going on. Well, what's going on? What's going on? I don't, and you're like, I don't know. They're hanging out a lot. And I was just, then you're praying.
Yes.
Remember you started praying for that. And I thought, no, because they were seeing each other or something. And we just thought, is this a good idea? Are they going to get their hearts broken? We didn't even know.
Yes, I know. It's so scary.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? There's no better person to take care of my mom than my dad. And so I wanted them to be together, and I encouraged them. And then they got remarried, or they renewed their vows, because according to the Catholic Church, they were still married. So, yeah. So it was really cool.
Oh, I love
such
that.
a beautiful story and work of redemption by the Lord.
And it lasted.
Yes.
And they're still together.
Yes.
Yeah. And now they're traveling.
They are like retired people do.
No, that is so good. God is so good. Well,
does that wrap it up? I think we talked a lot about.
We did. I this was a really good episode.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your heart and being open and vulnerable and willing to come on here. Because Shannon, she could be the quiet, not submissive, but what is that quiet, gentle spirit that the Lord loves? That's Shannon. I'm more like, wow. But one thing I do love about Shannon is I've always been close to you. I can say that, you remember, okay, before she was dating my son.
Yes.
I call her sis and sister. And so when she married David, it was so hard for me to switch from sister to Shannon, because
and then
I loved
calling
her so
her mom
much.
from sis.
Yeah. And then even with Bella, we did her baby shower. We, anyways, so I just love you so much, Shannon.
Aww.
Thank you for being a good daughter-in-law. We have a lot of people who with their in-laws it's not so good, or their daughter-in-laws. I hear stories of women with their daughter-in-laws, and I'm always like, oh, but I've been very blessed to have you.
I feel like our story is a lot like Ruth and Naomi.
I was wondering if you're going to say that, because I always thought that.
Oh, yeah. That's how I've always felt every time we read that story.
And let me just say, if something happens to David, she is coming with me. She is going to come with me.
Nothing is going to happen.
David, not to find a Boaz, but she will be under my protection. She's my daughter.
Nothing will ever happen. I'm with him forever.
That's right.
For the ever.
For the ever. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you for having me. I hope it blesses the people that are listening. I hope it blesses you. All right.
Thank you.
Love you. Love you, Mom.
Love you.